The Catacombs of Paris, I would have to say, is an eerie part of French history, as it is attached to many dark events. Before I talk about the catacombs, I first want to state the obvious. If you're not fond of seeing a mass assortment of human bones, then this video is definitely not for you. With that said, let's jump into this. Starting with the 17th century, as the city of Paris developed, it became a major player in Europe, but this progression brought two key problems. The first problem was, due to the high amount of people dying from disease and famine, the dead took up too much space for the cemeteries to handle. One such cemetery dealing with excess bodies was Saint Innocent's, Paris's oldest and largest cemetery. The first solution the French government came up with was to dig up the bodies and move them within the walls of the cemetery, but the cemeteries eventually ran out of space. For the people living in the Les Halles neighborhood, close to Les Innocents, they became the first of many to complain about the terrible smell of decomposing corpses coming from the cemetery. Perfume stores were also hit hard by the smell. It wasn't until 1763 when King Louis XV ordered by law the banning of all burials from happening in Paris. The church didn't like where this was heading and pushed back against the French government because they didn't want the graves to be disturbed, so the bodies stayed in Paris. After Louis XV's rule came Louis XVI, and he announced that all the cemeteries should be moved outside the capital. However, both of these lacking rulers didn't solve the overflowing bodies in Paris. Their incompetence would make them lose royal authority over the people and led to the French Revolution of 1789. Anyways, let's get back to 1780, when the problem reached its peak. In that year, during heavy periods of rainfall, a wall around Les Innocents buckled, displacing numerous corpses into a nearby property. Luckily, their second major problem became the solution they desperately needed. Around the same time, in certain parts of Paris, the ground became unstable and collapsed. This led to the rediscovery of countless tunnels, which had been used as a quarry more than 2,000 years ago by the Gallo-Romans. But these tunnels were 45 million years of evolution in the making. Paris and the surrounding area were once covered by a tropical sea. Over time, the sediment on the seabed formed layers of limestone deposits, which were mined as early as the 1st century AD with the Gallo-Romans, which used the limestone to build Lutetia, the Gallo-Roman name for Paris. Through the 13th century and on, the quarries were used to provide large amounts of stone to build such famous sites as the Notre Dame Cathedral and the Louvre, for example. The rediscovery of these tunnels was the solution Paris needed, as the mined tunnels left empty areas to be repurposed as graves for the excess bodies, now known as the Catacombs of Paris. The cemetery started to move the bodies in 1786, starting with Les Innocents. The project took around 12 years to transport all the bones to the catacombs. The number of bodies ranged between 6 and 7 million. Some of the oldest graves were more than 1,200 years old. Some of the cemeteries held famous people, such as famous writers, architects, painters, and sculptors through the 14th and 1700s, to key players in the French Revolution, such as Jean-Paul Marat, a radical voice of the Revolution, and Maximilien de Robespierre, a major influence in the Revolution, in the later to come Reign of Terror. The people to die in the French Revolution would also be transferred to the catacombs. So you can see a large amount of history from various periods all put into one place. As early as the 1800s, public tours became available, but only the rich could afford to visit the catacombs, with the permission of a mines inspector. At one point, the church was outraged about the public being able to see human bones, and the catacombs were closed for around 17 years before being reopened again. Tours in the catacombs used to be an occasion, 4 visits per year, but eventually led to being accessed daily. Even today, the public can access a fraction of the tunnels, which covers 2 kilometers or 1.25 miles. But there are rumors that claim the tunnels stretch around 280 kilometers or 170 miles long, spreading under Paris. There is only one entrance to the catacombs, but again, there are rumors that say there are many access points, such as the sewers, the metro, and other various man-made holes. If these secret passageways do exist, they most likely are very dangerous because of sudden cave-ins and exposed electrical wires. But that still doesn't deter a cult following, known as the cataphiles. They illegally explore the tunnels, trying to discover new passageways. So what do you guys think about the catacombs of Paris? I find it shocking that the French citizens had to endure decades with the odor of death at their door. What I find interesting is the way they stack the bones. An artistic touch to something so creepy. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, leave a like. It helps me out. If you have any topics for me, let me know. And if you haven't already, subscribe for more history content. And I'll see you guys in the next video.